Fire for them, fire for them. If you're looking for that 35 bag umbrella and all damn thing there, keep it locked with DISUNOMICS podcast.
Welcome to this week's Monday morning news, and let's get straight into it. Matt Hancock, well, as I was doing my notes, it was to talk about him, how he should resign, and now he has resigned, or some say he's been pushed to. So Matt Hancock and his lover, Miss Colin D'Angelo, whoever she is, this lady was given a £15,000 salary for 15 days work per year. She's a non-executive director of the Department of Health and Social Care, and of course she's left her post. So what's happened? Well, you've probably seen all the pictures. Matt Hancock grabbing up her, well, I wouldn't even call it a grab, patting her bum in his Whitehall office. Obviously both parties are married. I'm not sure if Miss Gina has kids, but he has 3 kids. And this was dropped, I think, Thursday-ish by The Sun. So I won't even say it was caught in 4K. This guy's caught in 240p. And ever since then, it's been a bit of a whirlwind. So he was under pressure to resign, and he released a statement basically saying, yo, damn, that's crazy. Like, basically, I've learned from my mistakes. I'm focused on, and I apologize for breaking the rules. He didn't apologize for cheating on his wife, which I thought was crazy. Listen to too much Future, which I can. No, I've never said that. But he has now subsequently allegedly left his wife of how many years for this woman. According to the Mail on Sunday, he's only been with this girl for like a month, but apparently it's very serious and he's gonna leave with her. So why is this a big deal? It's just people cheat every day, unfortunately. Well, the Department of Health former leader, Matt Hancock, he's the one who sets the health guidance for how we handle COVID. And you can't be the person setting the law and you're breaking it. It just makes your position untenable. And why should anybody listen to you? I find it quite amazing that how Boris was like, yeah, he's fine. We've put this matter behind us. We've seen it's closed. So people are like, hold on, you crazy? Like, look what he did. So the interesting part of this is like the dynamic between Hancock and Gina. People were quite confused as to why she got the role in the first place. And her role is to actually hold people like Matt Hancock into account. And she was holding other things, unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on where you see things. Another interesting twist is that her relative, Roberto Colandangelo, is a strategy director for a company called Partnering Health Limited that has recently got contracts from the government as regards to COVID. So some people say this is a conflict of interest. Now, this is the second time that Matt Hancock has been caught up in such a whirlwind, where last year his former pub buddy and neighbor, I can't remember his name, I think his name was Alex or something, he gave him a contract. This person had a company that did packaging for parties and stuff like that. He gave him a PPE contract, bro, and they patterned this via WhatsApp. Now, what's interesting is that according to, I think it's the Telegraph or it's the Times, the Sunday Times, that he is under investigation because he was using his private email. So it might be like mhancock81@gmail.com to handle public dealings. So in terms of getting contracts done for the government, you can't do that. There has to be a paper trail. And I've worked in the public sector. There is a lot of red tape. So he should be using his official government email. So he's under fire. And this might have been the final straw that broke the camel's back. Now, what's interesting is that he didn't want to resign, but when it was Niall Ferguson, who is part of Sage, who was caught with a woman who was cheating, I think it was early last year when there was a social distancing, and he's one of the people who devised the social distancing laws. Matt Hancock's like, yeah, bruv, like, a man shouldn't even be here. Like, I understand he had no choice to resign. So it's funny that on Friday, Matt Hancock said he wasn't going to resign, and the next day, and he said he's resigning because he broke the rules, and people who make the rules shouldn't break the rules. But that was the case on Thursday and Friday. So that's all interesting. Now, what's quite interesting is how this has come about. So there's some rumors saying that Matt Hancock believes that this came from China, which just shows like how can it come from China? Some House of Cards shit. What the gist is, according to the Mail on Sunday, is that this comes from somebody within his team. They're saying, and they managed to contact the journalist via a Finsta, and that's a fake Instagram account. So that's what all of our women friends be using to do their jobless snooping, which they should stop, but they won't. So here are some of the messages. Thursday, June 17th, night at 7:43. I need to be very careful with the information I'm about to share. I have some very damning CCTV footage of someone that has recently classed as completely fucking hopeless. If you receive more information, contact me. On the 19th of June, I really need to be careful with this, but it involves him in a very compromising position with someone who isn't his wife last month. And then on the 19th of June, I have the full video. It's now been deleted off the system as it's 30 days. So it looks like it looks like an actual recording, not a screenshot from a recording. It's super duper grainy. Now, some of the fallout, of course, I spoke about Matt Hancock, who was pushed to resign, has now finally resigned. Gina, she's been seen pictured packing up her shit. Do you know what I mean? Like leaving it. Like maybe her husband's like, get the fuck out of here. Right, understandably. And I just find it so interesting how this has come about in such a dramatic fashion. Like the person who was leaking this was moving like a certain influence, or what you call it, talking about sitting on a bad boy piece of information, which has been making me laugh for the last 20 minutes. I shouldn't laugh, but this is mad. Obviously, people have been calling for him to, people now getting onto Boris saying, why didn't you sack my man? Like, how many fuck ups do you need? And if you want to know more about Matt Hancock's tenure, listen to my pod this week. Now, in terms of who's going to be the health secretary, there was rumors of it being, what's his name? I forgot his name. Zahawi. He is the vaccine minister, of course, done a great job with the vaccine, but apparently because he's only been like a minister for 2 years, he hasn't that much experience, which I don't think makes sense. If somebody's clearly shown competency in the health field and you have patterned the vaccine, which is the reason, in my opinion, the main reason that the government get away with so much of fucking up COVID, so much of the dirty sleaze and mess ups that they've been doing and guaranteeing them win the next election, he's only going to get rewarded with young promotion. Then there was talk of it being Michael Gove, but it's been announced that it's actually indeed Sajid Javid, which is very interesting because he has been a business sec, he's been a community sec, he's been the chancellor of the Exchequer, and he's been something else. Oh, he's been a home sec. So now he's the health sec. His background is in economics and stuff like that, so this is not really his forte, but he's been described as a safe pair of hands. Why this is interesting is that Dominic Cummings tweeted today saying he reckons that Boris's wife Kathy, is the person behind this hire. And Dominic Cummings said that he basically tricked Boris into firing him last year. Was it last year or 2019? And to get in Rishi in. And I remember this because the news came out that effectively Boris said, yo, your advisor is going to have to report to us now. And obviously, this is super micromanagement. This is unprecedented. Sajid was like, are you taking a piss? Like, I've been doing well as Chancellor. And he's like, yeah, you have, but it is what it is. And naturally, Sajid was like, fuck off. And he resigned. Dominic Cummings kind of put that battery in Boris's back, knowing that Sajid will be like, I ain't going to take this. And the argument is that Mr. Austerity himself, would we have had furlough and all these other good schemes that Rishi's managed to derive to keep us afloat? Maybe not. So Cummings might be right. So yeah, it's looking hella messy down at number 10. Obviously, stay tuned for further information. And to round up, we're going to talk about COVID again and travel. So the government is planning later on this summer, I don't know when that's going to be, I'm assuming end of July, early August. If you have been fully vaccinated, you can now fly to amber countries without having to quarantine. So the current rules is that if you fly to amber list country, which the majority of countries are, nations are, shall I say, you have to quarantine for 10 days when you arrive, and you have to take a test on the 2nd and the 8th day, or unless you want to do a test to release on the 5th, which is a bit more expensive when it's in specified places. Now, with this new rule, for people like me who've been jabbed up, I can now fly out to amber list countries, and when I return, once this rule's obviously gone through, I will have to quarantine. I will only have to take a PCR test on the 2nd day, according to the Transport Sec Grant Shapps. So he's saying there's going to be more information on this. They're looking to probably do this towards the end of July. And one thing is very important is that just because we can now fly to, let's say, France, for example, and not have to quarantine when we get back, doesn't mean that France are going to let us in. So we also have to look at the rules and regulations for other countries. And in the initial phase, this rule is going to be extended to UK citizen residents initially, this might not extend both ways. Now, on a travel scheme, on the travel theme, shall I say, there's been countries added to the green list. Remember I said before, every 3 to 4 weeks, they're going to update us. So here are the countries added to the green list. And this is countries you could travel to. You only have to take a PCR test on the second day. You don't have to quarantine at all. This is Anguilla, Antarctica. I don't know what the fuck you're doing in Antarctica. Let's use it on the Ice Age thing. Antigua and Barbuda. The Spanish Balearic Islands. So this is Formentera, Ibiza, Mallorca, Menorca. So no Marbella, unfortunately, but you got Ibiza. Barbados, Bermuda, British Indian Ocean Territory. Don't know why you're going there. British Virgin Islands, Cayman Islands, Dominica, Grenada, Madeira off the coast of Portugal, Malta, Montserrat, Pitcairn, Ducie and Onea Islands, Turks and Caicos. So from Wednesday at 4 a.m. the 30th of June, you can fly to these countries and you have to quarantine when you return. In terms of red list countries, so countries have been added to the list at the same time. Wednesday, 4 a.m., 30th of June. That's the Dominican Republic, if you want to go grab a young BBL. Eritrea, Haiti, Mongolia, Tunisia, and unfortunately for my Ugandans, you have been added to that list. Hopefully you could be freed by Christmas because you don't want to be in quarantine hotel after you got home. So yeah, this is this week's news. Comment below what you think of Matt Hancock. Let me know your best meme and let me know what countries you're looking to travel to. And of course, check out the podcast for some more gist on the political mess that is Matt Hancock, Boris Johnson and the Conservative Party. Peace.